Hi, I'm Steve Adubato here from the WNET Tisch studio right here in the heart of New York City, Lincoln Center. It is my honor, my pleasure to introduce Lois Robbins, who was an actress in Juvie. Juvie is, describe it
a new movie that starts shooting on April 11th with Eric Roberts and Jared Gilman from Moonrise Kingdom. Very excited about working with Eric. I've admired him for a very long time.
And the premise of the movie is?
It's a young boy's coming-of-age story. He discovers that his dad is having an affair, and his mom is ill. He doesn't realize that his mom is dying. And he finds his father with this woman, played by me, and he decides he's going to find her and kill her. So he sets out with his friends, and it's not what it sounds like as I'm describing it. It's actually quite an interesting turn of events. He gets on a train with his friends and a gun to find Maria, and when he gets there, he realizes that it's not at all what he thought.
Interesting. When did you know that you wanted to do this for a living?
At the age of 5.
No way.
Oh, yes. At the age of 5, I was in a school play.
Yeah.
It was about the months of the year.
The months of the year, go ahead.
And I was desperate to play the month of April.
Because?
Because April showers bring May flowers. It was a very dramatic role, but I was cast in the chorus. So for the few weeks of rehearsal, I was watching this young woman, Joni, play the role, and I was watching her very intently.
Were you the official understudy, or just...
There was no understudy.
In your head?
In my head. I was playing that part, and I think, you know, the power of the mind. The day of the play, Joni got sick. And I went up to my teacher, I said, Miss Vicario, I know Joni's part, I can play April. And she said, are you sure, Lois? And I said, yes. And she pinned the umbrella onto me, and I swiftly stepped on the stem because Joni was taller than me, so I broke the stem of the umbrella, which she had to paste back on. And I went out there and I played the month of April, and I cried on cue, and I thought, this is for me.
Some of your credits, you mind?
Yes, no.
One Life to Live, Loving, Ryan's Hope, All My Children. Sex and the City, Law and Order. Once and Again, a whole bunch of other stuff. And also finishing Papa Show at 54 Below, the old.
Yes.
I used to go there.
Studio 54.
Do you ever hang out?
I did.
Did I see
you? You probably did. We probably danced together.
Let's leave that alone, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So all that goes on, right? Mm-hmm. But the constant, I always have to ask people in the business this, because that sounds like a lot of work, but there were times where you were not working. How did you deal with all the, you know?
Well, I always worked somehow, but
really?
Maybe not in TV. So there was a huge block of time where I was doing theater. I had decided that when the soaps, I had done all the soaps and I was doing some episodic TV, but living in New York, it's very hard. Once you do an episode of Law and Order, once you do an episode of Sex and the City, you can't go on again for another year. So then it's, you know, the work's...
Because you don't have a recurring role.
Exactly. So it feels like it's drying up a little bit. So I thought, look, I live in New York. I'm raising kids here. I need to work.
Right.
And I decided to get into theater. When I first started, I was actually told that the way you look and all that, you're going to do TV and film.
What does that mean?
The
way you look, what does that mean?
The way you look a certain way, they just sort of put you in a box and say, you're going to do TV and film, that's what you should be doing. And I really resented it a little bit. So I dug my heels in and I said, okay, I'm going to make my way into the New York theater scene. So I started building up credits, working out of town. And through, I guess, a lot of tenacity on my own and sending out flyers to people. And this is actually a great story. I was doing a cabaret, and I sent out a flyer, and I happened to reach Richard Maltby with a flyer. And he came to see my one-woman show, and he called me at home. I didn't know him. We sort of saw each other in passing at school. And he said, look, you don't know me, but I actually saw your show last night, and I happen to have been doing a Maltby-Shire song. And he said, I think you're terrific, and I'd like to write something for you. I said, is this really Richard Maltby? So we got together the following week, and he rewrote the lyrics to a song that he had written called I Want It All for me. And he said, now put that in your show and do it. So I did it. He came back to see me again. Then I was hired to do a play at the Schoolhouse Theater called The Speed of Darkness, and Richard came up to see it. And he spoke to the artistic director at the theater, and he said, I love this place. and I happen to be a huge fan of Lois Robbins, and I have an idea for a musical. Would you be interested in doing a two-hander here? And they said, a Maltby-Shire musical? Sure. So he crafted this show that I did with Brian Sutherland, directed by Joel Silberman. And we ended up touring with that show. So that kept me out of town for a long time. And then Richard hired me to do a show called The 60s Project at Goodspeed Opera House that Janet Brenner wrote the book to. So that's how things started happening for me. And I started doing a lot of theater. So all of a sudden, people forgot that I was around for TV and
But
film.
you just kept working. You know, it's interesting. You told our producers, and I want you to share this with our audience on public television. You have to be your own CEO.
Absolutely.
Make the case.
Well, a lot of people, I think, in the entertainment business don't realize that it's a business. And
I'm an artist. Come on, you want me to be a business person?
But you gotta be, because if you're not advocating for yourself and out there working for yourself, you can't depend on your agents only to get you auditions and work. I think most of the work that I've gotten happened because I created relationships with directors, with producers. It's all about
branding.
Relationships. But the film
promotion.
happened because I said, you know what, there's this place called One-on-One. I'm going to go there and I'm going to start meeting casting people that I haven't seen in a long time. I went into Adrienne Stern's class. She started bringing me in for all the stuff she was doing, and I booked Blowtorch.
Before I let you out of here, you got to do the Meg Ryan thing. 20 seconds. What is it?
Meg Ryan is directing her directorial debut called Ithaca. It takes place in 1942. Met her because a friend of mine is one of the producers on the film. She said, you got to look at Lois Robbins' reel. She's perfect for this role. Meg said, I'd love to meet her, and now I'm doing the job.
CEO Lois Robbins is in the house. Juvie starts shooting.
April 11th.
And the Meg Ryan project is called?
Ithaca.
And you do have to be your own CEO, and you have to believe in yourself, and you do. And I have a feeling others are going to believe in themselves more because you. Lois, I want to thank you for joining us.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much,
it. You bring so
Steve.
much to the show. Come back anytime because you're right in the neighborhood.
Okay, well.
Okay, come a long way from Long Island.
Yeah.
Stay with us. We'll be right back right after this from Lincoln.
If you would like more information on this program, or if you'd like to express an opinion, email us at